How Stoicism teaches you to live as if today were your last. One day, you will wake up, and it will be your last morning. You will take your final breath, perhaps without knowing it is the final one. You will hug someone for the last time. You will see the sunrise for the last time. The truth is, we are all dying, just at different speeds. And yet, most of us live as if we were immortal. We postpone love. We delay gratitude. We waste time in anger, resentment, and distraction. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers of strength and wisdom, saw this mistake clearly. They taught us to live not as if we had endless years ahead, but as if today were our last. This is the Stoic guide to living as if each day were your final day. Memento Mori. Remember, you must die. At the heart of Stoicism is a practice both sobering and liberating. Memento Mori. Remember, you must die. Far from being morbid, the Stoics saw this as the most life-giving reminder. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." When you remember death, life becomes sharper, clearer. The trivial fades, the essential shines. Suddenly, you stop living automatically and start living intentionally. It is not death the Stoics feared. It was never truly living before death arrived. Death as the great equalizer. The Stoics reminded us that death is the one thing no power, wealth, or status can protect you from. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Think of emperors and beggars, kings and slaves, the rich and the poor. All return to the same dust. And if this is true, why waste time chasing shadows? Why waste life on envy, anger, or endless comparison? Death makes all equal. And when you live with that truth, you begin to choose differently. You live not for applause, but for meaning. Not for possessions, but for principles. Today is all you truly own. The Stoics insisted on a radical truth. The future is not yours. You may have plans, you may have dreams, but tomorrow is not promised. The only thing you own, the only thing truly in your hands, is today. Epictetus said, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best of yourself?" We always think, later, tomorrow, next year. But what if there is no later? What if all you have is this moment? The Stoics would tell you, stop waiting, start living. Cutting away distractions. Why do we waste time? Because we forget it is finite. We complain about others wasting our money, yet we let hours slip away as if they were endless. Seneca warned, people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to wasting time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. Think of your life as a coin purse with only a handful of coins. Would you throw them carelessly in the street, or would you spend them wisely, with purpose? If today were your last, would you really scroll endlessly? Would you really argue pointlessly? Or would you use your hours for what matters most? Living in accord with nature. For the Stoics, to live well was to live in accord with nature, to fulfill your role as a rational, moral being. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away. Death stands at your elbow. Be good for something while you live, and it is in your power. If today is your last day, live in alignment with what is highest in you. Act with courage, not fear. Act with justice, not selfishness. Act with wisdom, not ignorance. Your time is not measured by years, but by how you live within them." Gratitude for the ordinary. When you live as if today is your last, ordinary moments become extraordinary. The Stoics practiced gratitude not as luxury, but as necessity. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to wake with thanks simply for the gift of life. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Think of the simple blessings: the sunlight warming your face, the voice of someone you love, the food that nourishes your body. If today were your last, you would not overlook them, you would treasure them. Letting go of anger and resentment. The Stoics knew that anger is one of the greatest thieves of life. How much time do we waste replaying insults, plotting revenge, resenting what others did? But if today were your last, would you really want to spend it angry? Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, how much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it. To live as if today were your last means forgiving quickly, letting go lightly, and refusing to waste precious time on bitterness. Love deeply while you can. The Stoics taught that everyone you love is temporary: your parents, your friends, your children. Epictetus said, "When you kiss your child, whisper to yourself, 'Tomorrow he may die.'" This was not cruelty, it was clarity, because when you remember their fragility, you cherish them more fiercely. If today were your last, would you hold back your love? Or would you speak it, show it, pour it out freely? To live stoically is to live in such a way that no "I love you" goes unsaid. Doing the work that matters. The Stoics believed our time is not just for pleasure, but for contribution. What will you leave behind? Marcus Aurelius asked himself daily, what will remain of you after death? Not your possessions, not your titles, only what you have given to the world. If today were your last, would you want to be remembered for your distractions or for your deeds, for your complaints or for your courage? Live so that your actions today could stand as your legacy forever. Peace at the end. The Stoics did not fear death because they trained to meet it with peace. For them, the end was not tragedy, but the natural completion of a cycle. Seneca wrote, "He who has learned how to die has unlearned how to be a slave." When you live each day as if it could be your last, you no longer cling desperately to more time. You live fully in the time you are given. And when the final day comes, you are ready. For as Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." Thank you for watching. If this video gave you something to reflect on, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who might need this reminder today. And if you'd like to keep walking this path of wisdom, strength, and clarity, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next lesson. Remember, the Stoics taught that life is fragile, but that's what makes it precious. So live today with courage, with gratitude, and with purpose. Until next time, stay strong, stay mindful, and keep walking the Stoic path.